Okay, guys, let's get rolling here. Saturday morning, I got done with my workout. It's about 8:30. Got showered up and getting down here, getting ready to roll for the day to get my morning appointments done. So just usually do a half day on Saturdays, and then I'm gonna get out of here and hopefully get over to the high school wrestling tournament that's in town. So this is not our hometown tournament. This is the district tournament that's the qualifying tournament for the state tournament, and they rotate that around to the different schools, and it's our year to host it, and so want to make sure we get over there. I'm going to get Emmett over there and any other of the kids that want to go, and yeah, support the high schoolers and hopefully see some of them qualify for the state tournament. So this is workout 12.3. So this was in the open in 2012. You can see these box jumps are, I don't think I've done these in a workout yet, where it's a box jump with just an extension at the top. This workout did not mandate that step down. That came later through the years as people were trying to jump down off that box and kind of rebound, and they were rupturing their Achilles tendon, and so they have since mandated a step down. And in most everything, occasionally they don't, and yeah, they've had some Achilles issues when they don't, especially in like those highest levels of people that are moving really fast and putting a lot of pressure. Yeah, they'll mess up their Achilles sometimes. So 15 box jumps. That's a 24-inch box. Then it's 12 push press at 115 pounds. Push press, you can see me doing them there, where you're helping that press with your legs a little bit, and so it's, I don't know, call it a cheater press or whatever you want, but that's the standard, and you have to lock it out, head through the hole at the top. You know, sometimes you get moving a little fast, and I don't know how great that showing that lockout with all those things extended is, but yeah, try to do a good job. And then it was 9 toes to bar, and you can see I did those all unbroken on that first set, and those looked pretty good and felt good because I was pretty fresh. Now, here's the thing about doing this workout: when you've got kind of 2 spots and 3 people, you just kind of go where it's open. So I was technically supposed to go back to the box jumps. It would have been better to go back to the box jumps, but Blake was kind of on those when I came off the pull-up bar, so I just hopped back on the push presses, and I'll finish those up, and then I'll hop on the box, and then I'll go over to the pull-up bar, and you just kind of mix and match, and hope you don't mess up your count, because that can mess you up a little bit. But yeah, you just kind of do the best you can when you're kind of improvising. I did tell Blake that I would like to get like a real time on this workout, so I told him, like, as we were kind of getting down to the last little bit, it was 18-minute AMRAP, so 18 minutes to get as many rounds and reps as possible. So I told him when we were getting down to the last minute or two, if I could kind of make sure that I wasn't out of order as I was finishing those up, because obviously like that push press takes less time than these box jumps, and so if you skip your box jumps on that round and start with your push press, and you finish those and get just a couple of box jumps, your score, where you say I got 5 rounds plus 15 reps, well, 12 of those are going to be push presses, where everybody else, all 15 of them would have been the box jumps, and so those aren't really equal reps. CrossFitters really like threes, and so you'll notice This is an 18-minute AMRAP, 15 box jumps, 12 push presses, 9 toes to bar. And so, yeah, those toes to bar felt pretty good. I don't think I did 9 on this second round. Maybe I did. Oh, yeah. There was one of these rounds where my hand slipped off. You see videos of people doing, kipping type stuff on a bar, and they'll slip off and like totally land on the top of their head or whatever because they're kipping so hard. I just about did that on this one. So this was yesterday morning. Sorry, I don't even know if I said that. This was yesterday morning, so I'm kind of trying to remember how that all went. And I've got a video for today, and I'll do a review on it. But I was going up on, I think it was my last toe to bar, and I'm levering up and I'm flinging my toes up, and ironically my right hand kind of just, I mean, it slipped off. If we see it here, like you'll see, like it came off. My toes touched the bar, so technically it was a toes to bar, but yeah, it was scary. And I think that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to split these into 5 and 4. And when I started doing that set of 4, like I just could not get that rhythm back on it, and it got really, really bad when just doing that swing and get one and swing and get one and swing, and it just takes forever. So trying to think if there was anything else funky with this workout. I broke these push presses up 7 and 5, I believe, the whole way through. The first time I picked it up when we were kind of warming up, I'm like, I'm not doing 12 reps of this. It's too long. We talk about time under tension. It's just too long, kind of not being able to breathe well. And so you just drop it and try and get back to it. It's just heavy enough that I've got to catch it and then kind of reset there. You'll see I try to like do where I just kind of come down and pop, and it was just heavy enough. It just wasn't working very good. Here we go. This will be the one that I slip on, I'm pretty sure. 6. Yeah, I'm struggling. Yeah. Oh gosh, that's scary. Oh man, that'd have been a good video though. I'd have probably been in the hospital, but you guys would have enjoyed it. That'd have been crazy. Yeah, that right hand just slipped off. That was nuts. Like, that's one of those things, like you have those moments in life where you realize that you were really close to having a bad thing happen to you, and like your adrenaline spikes just a little bit, break into that little bit of a cold sweat. I'm pretty sure that's when I really got drenched in this workout sweat, and it wasn't the workout so much, just yeah. So anyways, went to 5 and 4 after that, and I didn't have any more problems, and I might even chalk when I go back over there. So sorry, that was probably really loud because I got closer and cleared my throat. I don't know if I mentioned, I probably did. So last weekend, I was coaching the youth wrestling. I kind of volunteered / got roped into that this year. I needed to do it. The head wrestling coach for the high school was running those programs the past few years because he had a boy that was in that youth group. Well, his boy just got into junior high, so he really wasn't going to be doing like our mat club stuff anymore. And so then Mason, the head coach, the high school head coach, he was still running those mat club practices at the beginning of the year, and I was kind of going in there and helping out. And he asked me, he's like, hey, if you want to do any of these, I'm more than willing to let you take them over. And like the first time he said it, I was like, man, I don't know, I've got emergency stuff after hours, and some days I don't feel like I can get there right on time or whatever. And then like that whole scenario kind of hit me, and I'm like, oh shoot, he doesn't even have a kid in this anymore. And so that's when I said, okay, between myself and a couple of the other guys that have kids in this, we'll get these practices taken care of. You go home after the high school practice and try and keep some of your sanity, because I coached high school wrestling for 4 years. I was the head coach, and it's a big time commitment. So it's every Saturday there's a tournament. Usually you're doing some morning practice type stuff, because there's kids that want to come in and get an extra workout in, because there's a weight component in wrestling. And so those kids that are trying to do a good job of managing their weight, they're getting extra workouts in. And and then you got your practices at night. And then if you add the youth on top of that, man, you're just never home, and it's a grind. And it's a long season, because there's Thanksgiving and Christmas in the middle of it. So, and you've got to have practices over that time period. And so it's 3+ months or better. Yeah. So it can be a lot. So anyways, I took over that with some of the other dads, and we've been running those practices. And so anyways, had the boys up at their district tournament last weekend, which is their qualifying tournament to go to the state AAU kids tournament, and that is grades 3rd through. I'm doing grades 3rd through 6th. The 7th and 8th graders are just doing the junior high practices, but they're in that AAU tournament also. But those 3rd through 6th graders were up there on Sunday, and in the group that I coach, we had 5 of them that went and competed, and 4 of them qualified for the state tournament. So that was really good. But it's been several years since I was doing the high school head coach thing, and I forgot how heartbreaking it is to be coaching that kid that doesn't qualify, and it's very upsetting to them, especially at that. So all my guys were 5th and 6th graders. I don't think we had any 3rd, 4th graders that did it this year, which is fine. I agree with that. It's probably a little bit young to have that kind of pressure. They need to be making those decisions for themselves to do that tournament. But it was rough. Yeah, like those kids that when they lose and all their buddies are moving on, it's tough, and you just don't have the words for them, and you also don't have the time, because you're bouncing from mat to mat, trying to make sure that everybody's got a coach. And so that was tough. But Emmett had a really good day. So last year was his first year doing it. He was a 4th grader, and there was no expectations. It was just we were going to do it for the fun of it. And he ended up qualifying for the state tournament. So he's a bigger kid, so the weight classes get pretty light as you go up in weights. So he only had 3 kids in his bracket, him and 2 others, and both of the 4 go on to the state tournament. And so he automatically was going to go once we did weigh-ins and found out who all was there. And he ended up losing to both those kids. And it was interesting because we went up to state tournament, and we're talking to him and asking him about it, and anyways kind of ended up finding out like he really didn't feel like he had earned it, didn't feel like he deserved to be there. And as the coach, you've got to kind of get him over. It's a lot of psychological stuff, as everybody in any sport or any competition, anything where it's remotely competitive, it's all up here. It's not all up here. 90% of it is up here. And so you're trying to kind of talk them through those thoughts and emotions and feelings and everything. And anyways, I felt like I did a good job with that. He did a good job kind of understanding it, and he kind of got on board with being there, and he ended up placing 7th in the state. And to do that, he had to beat one of those kids that was in his district that he had lost to. for the 7th place match. And so that was a great way to end the year. The other kid ended up getting second. So out of that district, all 3 of them placed at the state tournament, 2nd, 7th, and 8th. So really turned out it was a tough district, and he probably should have lost to those 2 kids at that point. And then for this year, both of those kids were back in his bracket. He had the kid that he had lost to in districts and beat in the 7th place match as his first match, and he was beating him. And anyways, the kid ended up kind of getting him turned and getting some back points, and ended up beating him by 1 point. So that's going to end up being a good thing. I think you gotta have those tough matches, and you gotta win those tough matches sometimes. You gotta lose those tough matches sometimes to stay humble, to stay working hard in the room in your practices. That's all of wrestling or any sport or any activity. It's the practice, the performance. You got to do that. There's a little bit of learning curve with that, but you've got to enjoy the process of getting better and the day-to-day grind of it. And so those things where you lose those close matches keep you motivated. So that was great. The kid that got second last year in the bracket, Emmett went out there and he just took it to him. He had already lost that match, and I told him, hey, it's a round robin. There was 4 of them in the bracket this year. It's a round robin, and so if you lose to this kid, but then you beat this guy, and this guy beats this guy, sometimes just by criteria, if everybody loses a match, you can end up winning the bracket. He was in a bracket like that this year, so he ended up going out there and just taking it to that kid, and beat him, and then turned him and pinned him. And that's one of the criteria type things. Did you get pinned? No, he didn't in the match he lost. Did you pin, the guy? Yes, he did in that match. And anyways, it didn't end up panning out that way, because that 2nd place kid that Emmett beat ended up losing to all 3 of those guys. He had a really tough day. So that guy that Emmett wrestled last, he was a pretty tough kid also. He beat the kid, that 2nd place kid from last year. He beat that 8th place kid he didn't beat that kid, 8th place kid from last year. He was beating him, and then that kid kind of squeezed out the win. So he was a real tough kid, and I warned Emmett about it and some of the stuff that I'd seen him doing. And Emmett went out and wrestled a really tough match, but it was 0-0 after 3 periods. No takedowns in the first period. Both of them chose down when it was their choice in the second and the third, and both of them did not get the escape. Emmett was fractions of a second away from the escape. He was literally on his feet. He was facing the guy, but the guy kind of still had his arm kind of around his back. And the rule there is if it's across the spine, if that hand's across the spine, it's not an escape. And I was yelling, it's an escape, and it's an escape, because Emmett was hooked inside that arm. And anyways, yeah, so he did not get the escape. And he was beat. He was fried, and I could see it on his face, like exhausted to the point where he's about to cry, and just couldn't catch his breath, about to die. So on the days he doesn't have practice, he'll usually come ask me, hey Dad, will you put me through a workout? And I think I might have said that on one of these videos and gave him a shout out for doing Kalsu, which is a CrossFit workout, a hero workout. And so he's walking back to the center of the mat to go into this overtime, and it's sudden victory. So if you get a takedown, it's over. And I see this look on his face, and I just yell at him at the top of my lungs. I'm like, Kalsu, Kalsu! And I just saw it click. Because after that workout, I told him, nobody can do that workout that you're going to wrestle. And it's a grind, and you're dying. And so he had that feeling at that point. And yeah, I'm tearing up, because it was awesome. It just clicked in his head. He's like, oh yeah, I can do this. I can do this hard thing. And he got the takedown in that overtime. So match that he lost close, match that he won close. Yeah, thumbs up for Emmett. And a match that he dominated, and that is about as good of a wrestling tournament as you can have. And so yeah, just really cool cool experience this past week. I want to make sure I shared that with everybody, and I hope Emmett learned a lot from it, and I hope he just kind of keeps, because we're kind of trying to peak for this state tournament and have a good tournament, and we're not putting undue pressure on it, and he knows that, but it's important for these kids to have these good experiences, and when I say good, I don't mean that they win it all. Yeah, they need to have a little bit of adversity. They need to have a little bit of stress in a controlled, really no lasting consequences type environment. Because, when they get out into life, things get a little more real. When you're doing something like this, it's more real. Like, sometimes it's life and death, and I know it's dogs and cats, but I always tell the staff, it's permanent. That's the difference when you're dealing with a living thing. Like, if you mess it up, there's no undoing it. If you are working on somebody's car and you put a scratch on it or whatever, that can be fixed. But if you mess up something here, it can't be. And so I think these kids being in that little bit of stress is it's a good thing for them to simulate real life stuff. So yeah, looking forward to that with Emmett. Guys, this workout, sorry I didn't talk much about it, but I think it was good for you guys to kind of be able to see it. I really like box jumps. Bounding exercises are really, really good. There's the muscular and the cardio part of that, but there's also a neurologic stimulus that comes with that. Sorry, two of the cousins are at a wrestling tournament this weekend down in Missouri, and I'm sure that's what this text thread is about. We're getting updates on kind of how all that's going. So, but yeah, we had the bounding, we had some overhead pressing, had some gymnastics with the toes to bar. So yeah, I really liked the workout. I ended up. This was back in 2012. They did not separate out the 40 to 44-year-olds, so I was lumped in. If I would have been there, I would have been lumped in with all of the young fire breathers, and so put my score in, and it was 42nd percentile. So not great, but I liked the workout. I liked the variety in it, and it was something that when I tested the box jump, my calf that I had injured in the previous workout felt really good. And I've been doing a great job on ice and heat and stretching and massage. And I've been doing the cold therapy laser. So my calf actually felt really good today also, even better. So yeah, we're going to keep working hard. And if you guys do any of these workouts, I wanna hear about it. I want to know, did you beat me, or you do the workout and I totally kicked your butt? You better get on here and be like, oh man, I tried that and I don't know how you went that hard, Anthony. You're awesome. So I want to hear that kind of stuff as well. So thanks guys. We'll talk to you later.